Processing Trauma and Shadows, Part 2. This is better said than done. It is not going to be easy in order to address everything that has held weight in your life. Some things more than others. Some things might weigh a ton. Some might weigh just a few ounces. But you have to let it go piece by piece within your own time. I find that things that happen in our childhood hold the most weight, and the things that hold in our adulthood, sometimes, more often than not, it really depends on what you experienced, will hold less weight because we feel more accountable for our decisions in our adulthood. When processing our shadows, we have to be wary not to project, because we can do that. A shadow can arise, and maybe our partner cheated on us, and then we treat every partner afterwards as if they are going to cheat on us without giving them the benefit of the doubt, and kind of projecting our fear onto them, thus traumatizing our partner. Our partner might, walk on eggshells around us. We might be outwardly, maybe on a small spectrum, abusing our partner. Well, my partner did this, and my partner did that, and my ex-partner did this, and da-da-da-da-da, and your partner's like, well, I don't want to hurt this person, so I'm not this person, and what should I... People don't realize the weight of words. If we experience something that we had no control over, an assault of some nature, or witnessing family or friends get, in their traumatic events, and something that we have no control over, we have to accept the fact that, it did happen. It did leave somewhat of a quote-unquote weight on me. I have to let it go because I can't control anybody else besides myself and my own personal frequency and experience. If it's an event where you were assaulted by a random stranger on some nature, you might hold a little bit of weight. Well, I shouldn't have been there at that time, or maybe I shouldn't have been, intoxicated or things like that. Do not blame yourself for other people's actions. You are responsible for your actions. They are responsible for theirs. If it is a trauma psychologically having to do with verbal abuse from a family member when you were young, kind of not reiterating that same dialogue in your head. You're not good enough. You're not a good boy or a good girl. You're not smart. You're not good enough. Why don't you do it like that child? All those can be emotional weights and traumas that we carry on, or shadows that we carry on throughout our adulthood. What other things? Shame, embarrassment. We carry that into adulthood as well. We can also have it in our adulthood, realizing our sexuality, trying to be shamed out of it, or having an embarrassing event in our life, a traumatic event that is very embarrassing, carrying that weight with us throughout our lives. It can happen in our childhood and our adulthood, and we don't accept it for what it is. We don't leave it in the past where it should be, and we don't look at our own future and our own growth. What you have to realize is that we learn from all of our experiences. Positive or negative or neutral. We learn from everything. It has everything to do with nurture versus nature. You are a product of your environment. If you live in rural areas, you're going to learn how to walk. Why? Because that's just what it is. You learn to walk to different things, or maybe you just don't really utilize a car because it's very far distances. If you live in a city, then you're like, hey, I can go downstairs and there's a store. You know what I mean? And everything's readily accessible. You are, whether you believe it or not, a product of your environment. So we can also learn a lot from that if we are a product of our environment, then usually our growth will come from that. Our processing will come from that. Even our trauma could root from that. So understand that going through the stages of grief, really accepting yourself in your entirety is the only way you're going to get through life weight free. You cannot change the past. You can only live presently. And you have to really just go through life day by day, moment by moment, and realize you can't control anything but yourself. But when these shadows arise within oneself, address them, let them go. And that is always better said than done. If you need to go to therapy and seek medical attention, seek it. Those are light workers within themselves who have mastered that profession for a reason, for a non-biased ear, for you to vent, so you can let things go and help your emotional well-being. Going through life and holding on to all these weights will only isolate ourselves from the world, isolate ourselves from ourselves. We will start to detach and can only affect ourselves and people around us in a negative way if we do not address them. So processing these things within themselves is for the better, and it can only help your spiritual growth. And again, if you don't believe in certain things, then we are being based in reality. It can only help you be a better version of yourself.